Hey everybody, welcome back to the Portable Gamer, welcome back to Farming Simulator 17, and welcome back to Gwenddwr. It is still day 5 of spring, and I made a bold choice, maybe, we'll see. Let's take a look at the map and I'll tell you what we're going to do today. So I did get soybean in on fields 7, 8, 9, and 15. And, you know, we had the Kverneland on the Fiat, and then I rented a little Amazon, I want to say it's like 2.5 meter planter, and I was helping out on some of these fields in the MB track just to get it done quicker. But then I got to thinking, we're planning to mow this grass, right, around the farm and take it up and down to the BGA. I have not found a cutoff through here, so we'd have to go up and down. A lot of trips with a fairly small loading wagon. But if you look right now, we can sell soybean for 1,700, a little over 1,700 pounds per 1,000 liters, which is the most expensive money crop we can sell right now. So I started thinking, why don't we turn some of these fields under and plant soybean here as well? Potentially convert all of this to arable, because we still have fields 1, 2, 3, and 4, but I don't think we're going to need to make hay bales. So essentially all these fields around the farm, we would mow them, then we would rake them, or possibly we would mow them and then just pick up that road directly with a loading wagon. But we'd have quite a bit of intervention here. And then we'd still have to drive up and down, over and over, to get to the BGA. We're going to have to rent a combine harvester for these soybean fields anyway, right? And that's going to be about 10 grand. And I don't want to say that we don't need money, but we sort of don't need money. We've got some animals, and they are reproducing. We've got the 2 tractors that we're going to be using primarily. We've got all the fields that we need for the moment. So we don't have a lot to spend money on. And so it's not like we need to do silage straight away to make a ton of money. I mean, there's never anything wrong with making a ton of money, but we don't need money at the moment. And we're going to get a lot of money from the soybean that we sell. So I think this makes sense. And I think it will also, I mean, we can, at some point in the future, let's get this started on course play, and then I'll show you some other thoughts that I had about the way the map is laid out. Right, so we'll take this in here, and this is field 22. So we'll get this started on course play. And we're going to go to here, field 22, 2.7 meters wide this is. Like that. Couple of those like that. I'm going to set speed limits now because I always forget to do it otherwise, right? Like that, and we need to go back here, right there. And we're going to start far corner, always the far corner. All right, so we'll get this going, and yeah, I think that makes sense. Now we do have a traditional plow, but I leased from the Kuhn DLC, I leased the 4-meter Cultiplow. And the reason I did is, for one thing, it will do both those evolutions in one step. It will both plow and cultivate, so we'll get the 10% buff for plowing, and we'll also be ready to use this planter, which is not a direct unit, so we would have to cultivate regardless. And also, it draws 140 horsepower, which is exactly what our Fiat is at. There is a 4-meter Lemken. Hang on, let me get this going. There is a 4-meter Lemken, but it does not cultivate. And it's 170 horsepower. So we want to go here, start at first waypoint. Right there, ridge markers deactivated. Stop at the last point. And one last thing, we want this to 4-wheel drive and differentials. Yep. So let's confirm we are planting soybean, and we are. Beautiful. So yeah, I think all that makes sense. I think it does. And this may not be the longest episode. We may only go about 15 or 20 minutes. But I think that makes sense. Now, all these grass fields do have 2 layers of fert, and I'm pretty sure that will carry over, which means that these fields will now be plowed, cultivated, have 2 layers of fertilizer, and be ready to take soybean from the planter that's on the MB track, which will add the 3rd layer of fert, and we will have a lot of soybeans all around the map. And I think we can make some good money from that our first year. And the other thing is, looking back here, we do still have some grass fields, like I said, if we ever need to make bales. But at the moment, we don't. 7, 8, 9, and 15. What if we put corn in here next year? Because it is really, it's right next to the BGA. Rather than driving up and around from the farm up to the village and then back to the BGA, we can just go right across the lane here. It'll be like a 30-second trip versus a 2 or 3 or 4 minute trip, which doesn't sound like a lot if you had to do it one time. That's not a huge savings. But if you have to make 20 or 30 trips, right, you're talking about some significant time. So yeah, I think this makes sense. I think it does. And I typically, in the past, I haven't always done this. I've been more, I guess a little bit more, gotta take the brake off. Now it'll move. I've typically been, whatever the layout of the map is, when I get on it, when I start my save game, I just stick with that. But as you saw on the Western Shore, I'm getting a little bit more comfortable, I guess, with the idea that we can make these maps into whatever we want. Now, we don't, because this is a cultivator, per se, we don't get the option to allow create fields, and that's good. I don't think we want to. So I think we'll drop in a little four-wheel drive here, and I think we're ready to get started. All right, here we go. And I don't know how far out toward, yeah, there it is. I'm going to cheat a little bit and have, in this case, the right side of our cultiplow is out over what I know to be meadow grass that can't be cultivated. But I'm going to keep that right side out as far as possible toward the hedge, just so we know we're all the way out at the limit of the field. The map maker, these fields seem really accurate using courseplay. We've been using courseplay over on the other side of the map. And sometimes with fields, courseplay, I don't know, it detects the edge of the field and it seems to be in a different place than where the mini-map shows. Sometimes it's too close to the hedge, not enough room for vehicles to turn. I think this map maker did a really good job making the field limits very accurate. So by doing this, we'll know that we'll be able to plant soybeans all the way out to the line that marks the edge of the field, and courseplay hopefully won't struggle too much. I think what I just said made sense. As always, it may have only made sense in my head, but that's how it works out. All right, so we will get these. I mean, part of me is like, let's just do them all, because we still have 4 grass fields, 2 big and 2 small, and we don't need money. So what would be the point of converting some of these, but not all of them? Then we'd still have to lease all that equipment to take grass down, right? To take grass to the BGA. We'd still have to lease the equipment. My goal is that we would only have to lease a combine harvester to bring in all of our money crops. So rather than messing with mowers and everything else, we can just not, right? We can just skip that step and focus on arable crops this year. So yeah, it's possible. I mean, we can always put them back in as grass, but until we have the dairy open, which may not happen for a couple of years, it may not happen at all. Until we have the dairy in, I don't know that we would ever really need grass on this side of the map. So something to think about. And whatever it is that we do, I'll do it off camera. So, oh, there's a little bit of chug. That's not cool. Yeah, our frame rate just really dropped right there. I'm trying to think what it is that we could be looking at. I mean, we are looking at the entire map and the yard with some equipment. We can mitigate it by going a little vertical. Huh. All right. Hey, you know what? Maps have hotspots. It happens. Not a big deal. Not a big deal. All right. So we'll get our first moment. Let's make sure we're all the way out at the edge. Yep. It's interesting. There we go. Found a little mud hole there to get caught in. And I guess, yeah, I guess we'll just make a couple headlands here and then put this on a dumb worker. And I will finish up the rest of these off camera. And if we get the sequence right, then what we'll do is every time I'm done with the field, off camera, every time I'm done with the field with this Cultiplow, we'll just bring the MB track over, put it in that field on course play, and I'll move on to the next one. And we'll sort of get a little production flow going and continue that all the way across these fields. Okay. I haven't done any kind of calculation yet as far as what to expect, but at 1,700 pounds per 1,000 liters, I think we can comfortably expect at least 150 grand this year, less 10 grand for the combine harvester, and we already own a trailer. So I think we might be able to end this year more or less where we started. Now we'll have to decide what to do with that money. And if we know that it's only going to cost us, you want to call it 10 grand in, 10 grand out, right? So we'd need to spend 10,000 pounds to get all these fields seeded with soybean, and that's seed, fertilizer, fuel, etc. And then 10,000 to lease the combine harvester to get it out. Call it 20,000 total is our expenses. Those are our expenses for this soybean harvest. And if we make 150 grand, we're plus 130. We could buy animals, as long as we save 30 or 40,000 in the bank account for next year, we might even be able to get this farm up and running, get this map up and running without ever bumping our loan very high or at all. Do we have any loan at all right now? I don't think we do. No, we haven't needed a loan because we had money when we sold the equipment the map came with, and we haven't really spent anything. We bought 2 relatively affordable tractors, right? We've got a trailer, a few implements. Yeah, we really have not spent a lot of money. I don't think we have any loan at all. I'll check when we get to the end of this headland before we put the Fiat on a worker. I'll take a look at that. But yeah, I think that's a plan. I think that's a good idea. Turning these fields under, we'll find out. But too late now. We're committed. All right, so we'll finish up right around here. Like so. Yeah, it seems to be a hot spot on the farm. As soon as we turn away from it, FPS goes right back up to 60, so not a big deal. All right, we're right down here. And I'm trying to find the straightest... there might be a 45 degree. Let's put this up here. This map does have the multi-terrain angle, so it's possible that our dumb worker can set itself on a 45 degree heading, right, rather than 0, 90, 180, etc. Possible we'll find some other angles they can work at. All right, so right up here, and I think, yeah, let's just send it straight across the center of the field. That's the straightest possible. So 270 minus 45 would be 225. That's 225 right there. Let's find a good angle here. All right, well, 180. 180 degree heading would be straight across the widest part of the field, so that could be a good fit right there. So we're going to turn that. We got that. We got that. All right, that's all set. There we go. And they're staying right on 180. Okay, cool. So our smart worker will, our dumb worker. Our dumb worker will go ahead and get this field plowed under. We've got our course play worker putting in soybean across the passage. They're still doing okay. Great. And what was it that we wanted to check? What was it that I wanted to look at? I have completely spaced it. It was the price of something. I don't even remember. Whatever it was, I'll remember. All right, that's all I got for you. I'm going to go ahead and finish this off camera, and when we come back next episode, we will be, it's possible we may have skipped all the way forward to harvest, because I don't think there's anything to do between now and then. Just look after the animals. All right, not too far into the hedge. There you have it. Thanks for stopping back to check out the Portable Gamer. Thanks for joining us for another episode of Farming Simulator 17. This is Gwenddwr. We'll see you next time. Take care now.